that you are here this day. We have so much going on, and it is a great joy that today is Confirmation Sunday. So in just a bit, we'll hear from our confirmands, their statement of faith, and we will be able to celebrate them after the service. Before we begin there, I'd like to let you know that there are some loaves of bread at the back for our visitors. If you're a visitor, could you just raise your hand where you are? Great. So what you're going to do is rock, paper, scissors in the back because you don't have enough loaves of bread. So whoever likes bread knows to be the ones to pick it, okay? We're glad that you all are here. Because it is Confirmation Sunday, let me ask you something. If you were to name 3 major world religions, one that starts with a C, one that starts with an I, and one that starts with a J, what might they be? C, I, J. Okay. Now within Christianity, if you were going to name the 3 main sections, one that starts with a C, one that starts with a P, and one that starts with an O, what might they be? Calvinism, Protestantism, Orthodox. Very good. Now, if we were going to name what this church is, what is the religion? What is the religion? Christianity. What is the section of Christianity? All right, here's the good part. What is the denomination? Congregation United Church of Christ. Okay? So, can you hear all these various distinctions? Our youth have worked hard on these type of things. Plus, they have delved into some theological reflection and questions, and I'm going to read you now their overarching statement of faith, and then you will have your individual ones. Collectively, they say, we are choosing to be confirmed. Although we are just beginning our faith journey, we know that our community gives us a sense of belonging. Let me stop and say, I thank God for that. We are choosing to follow how Jesus taught us to live, and we understand that we all picture God differently, but we lean into the idea that God is love. What more could we ask for? We are grateful for our confirmands today. There are 2 main scriptures by which we live in this congregation and which we talked about in confirmation. From Micah and also from Mark. What does God require of us? To do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. Continuing, love God with our heart, our soul, and our strength, and love our neighbors as ourselves. So these are the principles that we are also talking about in confirmation. Now, with all of that said, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to look around the room and to celebrate all that are here. And then I'm going to ask you to rise in body and or in spirit and offer the peace of Christ to one another, respecting the physical distance of everyone, please. Peace of Christ be with you all. Please be seated. Bill, would you like to say anything at this time? Okay. All right, let's take a moment then and roll our shoulders back. Open our hands, our hearts. Let's take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Breathing in the breath of God, breathing in the love of God. And settling ourselves in the spirit. Let us continue now in our time of worship. You have just heard a beautiful choir singing this morning, and Bill will explain more about our music in just a few minutes. And we've already heard our scripture for today from Micah and from Mark. So this time we have an opportunity to offer in a few words prayer requests, joys and concerns we might have. So from where you are, if there's something for which you'd like us to pray, please offer a few words this morning. Karen.
Hi, I'm Joy. When I had a little grandson, Edward, who was expected to make those days. So my prayers are with Peter. And three okay.
For Teddy, who's in the mid here. Teddy Tederici, that's a great name. What's he gonna be, a baseball player? Teddy Tederici, coming up back. We will hold him in our prayers, Teddy, thank you so much.
Just prayers. My father, Gunnar Bennett, died on Tuesday, and so I just wanted to share that and make rest.
Absolutely. Prayers for all who love. Others.
My grandfather has cancer.
Certainly. What's your grandfather's first name? Prayers. Thank you. Definitely for our compliments. We pray for your lives of discovery and continue your spiritual journey. Susan, I think that's you in the back. Certainly. Carl.
Over the last year or so, I've asked for prayers for my friend Neil up in Cambridge, and he passed on Saturday morning.
For all who love him.
Thank you, everybody, for all your prayers.
Others. Yeah.
My dear father, John Eisler, is feeling sufficiently better that he would very much like to be removed from the prayer list.
Today is Debbie, who is in the balcony, and my 51st wedding anniversary.
Years, congratulations. I mean, we continue to pray for our state of the world, for all the sorrow and for healing and for joy, for all those things. And one of our confirmants was very intentional to point out that We don't live in a culture of royalty, so why do we say the Lord's Prayer? And so we talked about, it is the model prayer taught to us by Jesus, and we do use words like Prince of Peace and King and all that, particularly around Christmas music. So we had a great and fruitful conversation about what is inclusive language and how we speak about a God who's so much bigger than any of us that we can't possibly label our Creator, our Heavenly Parents. So we do the best we can with the language that we have. But I want you to know that that is the depth that some of our kids are talking about. That's the depth of their spiritual journey and reflection, actually wondering and questioning and asking these great things. So please continue encouraging that and reflect with them, for we all need to be aware of the language that we use. So this morning, we are going to pray the prayer that Jesus taught, our model prayer. And please use the language that is comfortable to you and speaks to your heart, for it is lovely to hear various words spoken in prayer at the same time. Let us continue now in prayer. Our Creator, who art in heaven, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power,
One of our visitors today is are the Thornburgs. They are celebrating their 46th wedding anniversary. Beth Thornburg was originally Beth Gregory, so yes, related to Jeff Gregory and Donna Gregory. John Thornburg is the president of the Hymn Society in America, and wrote that first hymn that we just sang. And he also wrote the text to all the hymns that we're singing today. The next one that we were singing was dedicated to our music program here specifically. Since Donna is a mentor for one of the confirmands this year, I thought it was specifically wonderful to kind of tie this all together. The text of this hymn really does. Not only is it a beautiful text, but also it was set to music by Mark Miller, who is one of the creative composers, currently also a colleague of Kay Potts at Drew. So specifically speaking to the confidence on this one, the text really works. I think it says when there's trust in the room, and so trust is one of those things that when we speak this covenant together, the 1629 Salem Covenant, it talks basically about trust. It's the original language is a bit, old school. It says, we covenant with the Lord and one with another, and to bind ourselves in the presence of God, to walk together in all his ways, according as he is pleased to reveal himself unto us his blessed word of truth. The 1636 version got a little bit more specific because I think some of the people weren't getting it. And so it added this whole little kind of list of things. We promise to walk with our brethren and sisters in the congregation, which with all watchfulness and with tenderness, avoiding all jealousies, suspicions, backbitings, conjurings, provokings, secret risings of spirit against them, but in all offenses to follow the rule of the Lord Jesus, to bear and forbear, to give and forgive, as Jesus has taught us. So that's where this text really takes me. And then the next verb there is, when there's trust in the room, we can breathe. And I don't think that John was right, it's just thinking specifically of COVID. We've talked a lot about breathing this past couple of weeks. It's been hard to breathe. It's been masked breathing. It's been distant breathing. But the words of one of my favorite poets who just passed away this year come to mind. It's Susan Paul Cherry, and she describes breathing as this: when we sing holy songs, we take the word into ourselves, and once again give it body, once again give it breath. We breathe together. We become conspirators, conspirare, together breathers, conspirators. When we sing holy songs, God's word breathe in us and again have flesh and presence in the world. And we, shaped by word and formed by music, are joined to the ancient story of God's loving acts in this world. Henry Miller wrote that humans' work in the world is to remember, to give limbs and body again to this ancient yet new story of God's being among us, the sheer holiness of life. So anyway, I just invite you to say thank you, friends, for joining us, for remembering, for conspiring with us. And for everybody else, we're now going to sing the first time this anthem has been sung in worship here, which is dedicated to our choir up there. So hopefully you enjoy the set of this wonderful text and give thanks not only to God, but also to John Barker for his gift of poetry.
Church family, Yes, may trust always be in this room. And our compromise, gathered here through the sacrament of baptism and your choice. The confirmation class of 2022, their nurture and support in the midst of this family of Christ, in the midst of pandemic, in the midst of war and its violence that plagues our nation. Here they found a comforting and safe place. Through prayer and study, they have been led by the Holy Spirit to affirm their baptism and to fully join in a covenantal relationship with Christ and members of this church.
Before our complimenters and mentors come forward, we want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for being part of the faith formation journey of these young people who will officially join our church today. We welcome them from the very start with their parents, guardians, family, community, faith leaders, and mentors. They have been held in our community in loving faith. Each one of you has played a special role in this journey, and we are so thankful and excited for this special day. And now we will begin. Here are introductions of the mentors themselves and their faith statements. So we ask Sam and Brayden to come forward.
I am not Milton Brasher Cunningham, I am Ginger Brasher Cunningham. Milton Brasher Cunningham, however, has an interim position right now in Westbrook, so I have the privilege to introduce these two guys that I love as well. So Sam Beers is here with his broken arm, who lovingly contributes to our community through band and life in general. And he did so plenty times recently on the green with his broken arm. Brayden is over here, who also has his own business. Brayden works in landscaping as well as just being a brother in a family that can sometimes be a little hectic, can it not? Both of these guys are amazing. I have so much joy and love for them, and it's my honor to get to stand here and introduce them in Milton's place this morning. Sam?
I am Sam Beers, and I feel connected to God through the community in our church and the communities around the world. In our church, we have a very nice and welcoming community. Like Ginger would say, whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I believe that God would approve of how we build our church community. Other communities that I've encountered were while we were helping a family in Tennessee with my family, and we all helped a family to repair their house. I felt God in each of these families because they were so welcoming towards us, who were people from Connecticut, and they never knew. When we went to Tennessee for our mission trip, we were placed with a family who needed their house painted and a little bit fixed up. The family consisted of a younger boy and his grandfather. They lived in a beautiful house with a beautiful yard. They were very kind and welcoming. The boy was very cheerful and happy. It was very nice to have some company while we were helping. For the first part of the day, it mostly felt like a chore because it was something that my parents kind of dragged me into. But towards the end of the day, the bond I created with the family was very welcoming and very warm. They were so very kind to me on that day. Luckily, I was able to go back on day 2. That day did not feel like a chore at all. By the end of the day, I was actually sad to be leaving. I believe that God is everywhere in our lives, but I see God mostly in our community when we help others, when others help us. God will always be present throughout my life in different places and other communities that I encounter.
Morning, everyone. I'm Brayden Peaches. As I sat in my bed yesterday, I lost ideas for my confirmation statement that was already 2 weeks late. I was ready to give up. Thoughts in my head thoughts rushed through my head. I felt frozen. Thinking back to the multiple classes I have studied to be connected to God still had not seemed to help. But as I became more patient with myself, I learned to accept what I could not control. I needed to write the statement no matter what. It just came down to what I made of it. Acceptance is how I see my connection with God. When things don't go our way, we must move on. I see acceptance in many ways, in many different ways through my life, not only with God, but through my interactions with the people around me in my day-to-day life. As we all know, the impact of the COVID pandemic is not our ideal way of life. Adjustments to our previous ways needed to be made. No friends, no freedom, and no family, and no school. Wait, no school, you said? Come on, what will I do with this vacation week? Can I learn more about my connections with my siblings and my parents, my connection to God? Can I learn more about my coming to age of the teenager life and the highs and lows of life? Thankfully, with the patience of the world and the patience with myself, I was able to learn more not only about myself, but the ways of the world and the ways I connected to God and faith. When the 1 week break stretched more and more away from a normal life, I learned to accept what was given to me and grow as a person. Sometimes when you seem like you're at the bottom, looking at what you're given and looking at what you can do, great things can happen. Luckily, with my growing connection to God, I got through the tough days and was looking for the brightest side of things. But not only did I see myself at the bottom in some moments, it was also my family member that I was trapped in the same house as me. As I clean your room, do the dishes, where's my phone, got all from my lovely mother. I needed to understand the feelings of others and how we need to express ourselves in different ways. When all was wrong at times, I knew I had God keeping me strong and most of all the faith from First Congregational Church of God.
Morning, everybody. Wow, those were great. Thank you. I have the privilege to introduce Sophia Franke, who I am so honored to have been given the opportunity to mentor. Some of us have been on this journey for 2 years, some one. COVID has sort of switched the program up a little bit. And I watched Sophia approach this with such intention and curiosity and then reflection. It's been truly remarkable. I've known her for many, many years, but there's a special connection that happens as a mentor. And for those of you who haven't done it, I highly recommend it. I have had somewhat of a journey of my own faith through this process, and that's been really incredible, and she's just been an inspiration. So I think we'll hear her talk a little bit about oneness and connection today.
2 years ago, everything changed. The COVID pandemic started and I saw my school starting to slip away. It was the end of my 8th grade year and I was probably doing 2 hours of schoolwork a day. Fast forward to the end of that summer, I was about to go into high school. Guilford High School announced their hybrid schedule of being in school 2 days a week. I instantly knew that it's not what I needed nor wanted as a new high schooler. So I started looking to apply to other schools. 2 weeks before the first day of freshman year, I enrolled at Mercy High School in Middletown. Mercy is a Catholic high school under the Sisters of Mercy, and every year I take a required theology course as part of the curriculum. At first, I didn't enjoy this class. I didn't agree with all the Catholic views on God and religion. Freshman year, we studied the life of Jesus Christ and the Catholic faith. However, this year, we focused on morality, what it means to be a decent human being living in the image of God. Throughout the course of this year, I slowly started to appreciate religion and Christianity, where previously I had mixed opinions on it all. Through my experiences at Mercy and growing up in this congregational Protestant church, I have seen how differently two very similar faiths operate. But most importantly, I have seen the similarities in being a part of a religious community. To be connected to one another in belief. To have that community around you, there to support you and pray for you. In my theology class, We start every day off with prayer intentions. Every week, a different member of the class leads us all in prayer, and the prayer leader calls for prayer intentions, and every student has the opportunity to ask the class to pray for an intention in their heart. This activity connects us as a class and a community. Even if the most repeated intention is the upcoming chemistry exam. I see the same sort of community here at the weekly worship when Ginger reads the community prayers. Over the past 2 years, I have come to see religion not as Catholics versus Protestants versus Jews, but as their own loving communities. Because in the end, I believe that we are all worshiping the same God, and we just choose to do it differently in our own preferred ways. I believe that everyone views God in their own way, and I believe that religion is almost a separate thing entirely. I view religion as a community with a shared belief system, coming together to support one another. Religion gives a person a sense of belonging, a space to grow, and to have people there to lift you up when you are down. This is why I am choosing to be confirmed here today with you all. Why I'm choosing to become a member of this community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carrie Federici, and I'm privileged to introduce Olivia and Sage, my mentors for the last for the last 2 years. And actually, when I say mentors, and I corrected it, they did help to lead me on my faith journey, and for that, I'm forever grateful. They're both very busy. Olivia does sports, school, and went on the pediatric, and Sage had to change her dance days around so that she could make it on Mondays, but again, it was totally worth it, and I hope you feel the same way. We had some interesting conversations, first on Zoom only, but then when we got to meet each other in person, it was awesome. So I hope that they'll continue to be active members of the church.
Hi everyone, I'm Olivia and Carrie was my mentor. I'm a student at Guilford High School. My mom, dad, sister, and grandparents are here today. I am a member of the Guilford field hockey and softball teams, and I dance as well. I got baptized at this church as a baby, and I've been coming here ever since. Jesus has always been a role model for me. Hearing Bible stories about him forgiving, showing compassion, and doing good for other people has always been inspiring for me. I also see God in nature. If you ask anyone in my family, I was always the flower child. I would always be outside picking flowers around my yard. I was also the little kid in Little League who would stand in the outfield picking dandelions. I am also very drawn to the beach. Whenever I am there, it is a safe space for me that is relaxing. The creations of God intrigues me. I also see God in communities who are about caring about each other. As mentioned before, one thing Jesus always did was care and show compassion to anybody and everybody who needed it. And this part of my faith led me to join Pilgrim Fellowship program. For anybody who doesn't know, Pilgrim Fellowship is a group held at this church that is centered around doing good for both our community and others. I joined this program last year during COVID, but we really didn't do much until this year. We had a leaf raking fundraiser in the fall where we would go to people's houses and rake their lawns who couldn't do it themselves or just didn't have the time. The fundraiser helped pay for our most recent mission trip to Puerto Rico. We went to help communities around San Juan. My group particularly was placed at a local church who welcomed us the first day we got there. We painted the whole outside of the church over the course of the week. We had many people from the community and the organization come and thank us. They told us that we were doing God's work. A big part of my faith is the connection and willingness to help people in need. Finding this group made my faith a lot stronger. I realized a big part of my faith comes from helping people in need. Participating in PF made my faith stronger, and I hope to continue to help others in the future. Thank you.
My name is Sage Jackson, and I believe that having faith and being kind to everyone I meet can help me find peace and happiness and be closer to God. Ever since I was young, I've spent a lot of time growing up by the ocean. Next to the cool water and the salty sun and the warm breeze, I truly feel the presence of God. I've experienced my happiness moments right next to the water, all the long August afternoons lying in the sand, just waiting for the tide to wash away my sandcastles so I could build them all back up again. Every moment of those days, I feel pure peace and serenity. I feel the strong presence of God and the powerful crashing waves and the grace and peace in the warm sun. I try to use this connection in my everyday life to help other people feel the same way that the ocean makes me feel, so that they can also feel the way that I feel about God. I try to help others through special gifts that might sound small and minuscule, but it means a lot to me. It's giving out chocolate cookies, because they make me feel the same inner warm feeling that the ocean gives me every day. I've grown up with the blessing of both the ocean and chocolate chip cookies in my life, and I love the way that it makes other people feel just as much as it helps make me feel a nice, warm way. By doing this, I hope that people could also spread the love and joy that it makes me feel. I learned from Jesus to love everyone as yourself, because you never know what is to come, which is Hebrews 13:1-2. This passage has helped me a lot from my faith journey throughout this year, because I can use Jesus as a role model for how I should treat others and live my own life. I love and appreciate the gift of the ocean and chocolate chip cookies, as well as everyone around me. And I will continue to learn and grow throughout my faith journey, and I'm very grateful to do that as part of this church.
I should have explained this before the confirmants came up this morning. I understand what your looks are. Your looks are thinking and they're reflective. But let me show you how you look. So, when our confirmants come up, you have a slight smile. Kind of a little more welcoming expression on your faces. All right, thank you.
Hello, I'm Gail Petter, and my confirmant is Claire Nicolay. I've had the pleasure of building a relationship with Claire the last 2 years. We started off doing lots of walks around the green, and then I've had the opportunity to, well, Claire's a dancer. So I've had the opportunity to see Claire dance her way through SpongeBob the musical, and this afternoon I'm going to see Claire be Tweedledum at 2 o'clock at Alice in Wonderland. And she's also been involved in Pilgrim Fellowship, and it's been a 2-year period of really watching Claire grow and blossom into a wonderful young woman. So.
Hi. I believe in a God that exists to support all people. Our God embodies love and acceptance. This love and acceptance can be seen in everyday moments through people, nature, and events. God does not discriminate based on sex, gender, sexuality, wealth, or lack thereof, or any other parameter that often causes divides in our society. I think that God can be the force that brings people together. Everybody has different experiences that have helped shape them into the person they are, and I believe that God can help us find that we have things in common with each other. Everybody worships in their own way, and no religion is right or wrong. I have the ability to take my beliefs and put them into practice when I interact with other people, no matter what community that I might be a part of. I know that my faith has brought me closer to people with many other faiths and people who do not practice any religion. I do not believe in forcing everybody to seek God the way that I do, and I try to embrace the differences that we may have and use them to form these connections. I believe that God will be there to support us when we face struggles and overcome the pain that we may face. God will also support us in moments of joy and pride and allow us to see how valuable those times are. I think that each moment teaches us something new. I believe that God will be there no matter what we are going through, as their support is unconditional. I know that God will not shelter us from all bad things, as it is evident in the world that we live in. I do not believe in a God who can change reality on a whim, but I do think God allows us to find our own paths, and they exist to support us and offer us compassion in both times of strength and weakness. As a follower of God, I will continue to spread this message of love and acceptance. I will follow Jesus' teachings, and although I'm still working towards the understanding, the meaning of the Bible, I will continue to use the teachings of the stories when I make my decisions. I'm just beginning to understand what being a part of this church community means to me, and I know that my ideas will continue to evolve as I learn more about the world around. Thank you.
I'm Kate Ott, and I am the mentor for Violet Johnson and Abby Williams. They are smart, athletic, funny young women who I have gotten to know through their generosity of spirit and time. I also want to say that it's not easy to be the mentee of a seminary professor. So I'm very grateful for their openness to all of my questions and the fact that they have embodied questioning as part of their faith journey. I really appreciate that they have let me in to this relationship with them, and I hope you learn as much from them as I did.
My name is Violet Johnson, and I've been going to First Congregational Church since I was born. I was baptized here, I played baby Jesus in the annual Christmas pageant. Along with my brother Levi, and I remember going to this church. I'm here today to take my next step at First Congregational Church by joining the church. An important part of finding your place is recognizing that everyone is on a different path with God. Everyone has had different experiences with their faith that form their beliefs. It's okay for there to be times of questioning and doubt. To me, faith isn't going to church every Sunday. Faith is trusting that there is a plan for you and knowing that God is with you even in that. Like I said before, everyone has a different relationship with faith. My experiences have shaped me to what I believe in or don't believe in yet today. There have been times in my life where I felt really connected to God and times when I questioned what I really believe in. I think that a big role in finding faith is understanding that it's okay to be unsure of your beliefs. It's also important to find safe spaces that you're comfortable in to associate with God. This could be a home, a church, or even a person. In this past year, I've thought about God and Christianity a lot more than I have in the past. This was caused by a mix of confirmation and an increase in my own interest in Christianity. Most people would agree that the people they surround themselves with affect the way that they view things. This has become true for me with my best friend who I met last year. She's one of the first friends I've had that also has a relationship with God and will talk to me about it. She brought me to the church, and it was cool to see the different ways that people worship and connect with God. It was also interesting to connect with God myself in a different setting than I have been in my whole life. I haven't had many friends my age who can relate to me on this level, and it has helped me explore my faith deeper by being around. I've taken 3 main things out of my time in confirmation at First Church. The first is that it's okay to question your beliefs or have doubts in God. It's part of the journey to finding what you truly believe in. Without questioning, you're just being told what to believe in, and that might not necessarily be true. The second thing is that you don't have to go to church every Sunday morning, or be the perfect Christian, whatever that means, to have a strong and healthy relationship with God. The third thing that I've taken out of this is that I'm still on my journey. Walking into confirmation at the beginning of the year, part of me expected to come out with some kind of spiritual awakening on exactly who I am and what I believe in. For me, this has not been the case. The truth is, I am still on my journey with God and discovering who I am in this aspect of my life. It might be a while until I fully understand my beliefs, or I may never even understand, but being confirmed is really one step closer.
Hi, I'm Abby Williams, and I'm a student at Brooklyn High School. I'm the person who likes to observe what's going on around me, and I like to think about why certain challenges develop themselves. Is it to bring realization to more people, or to teach people a lesson, or even to give consequences for past actions? I believe God creates challenges for a reason, whether it's to bring awareness to the community or to show that we are stronger than the challenges we face, and that we can overcome challenges if we just open our eyes and recognize that God is with us
through the good and bad, and God supports us through it all. In the Bible verse, Micah chapter 6, verse 8 tells us, what does God require of us? Do justice, love, kindness, and walk in the way of God. This means to me that God is always present when we face challenges, and that God is always there to support with loving kindness, no matter what we are going through. I work at First Church because this community looks out for the words of Micah and supports my faith journeys. I can continue to learn and explore the answers to my questions because there will never be more challenges. By getting informed, I can continue to learn more about why certain challenges present themselves to certain people. I believe that our faith is always evolving and my mind is always continuing to evolve.
I'm Lou Federici. I had the opportunity to work with the Conference Preston and Grant. You may have detected a little theme among the mentors, and it's that we're lucky. I feel truly lucky to have had this chance to work with these two excellent young men. In many occasions, we got together. This was a social opportunity. It was wonderful to see them working with the other students, with bursts of insight and focus on the task at hand, this inspiration of faith. These are two unique individuals, fine young men that share enthusiasm and joyfulness. I'm encouraged.
My name is Grant Wayne, and I've been attending church for as long as I've been young. Church experiences have helped me better understand what faith means, how it works in my life. Church services are special as they show how to live life through lessons of the Bible and of the world. I believe that services in the community are some of the best experiences as church parents, and it has helped me through the process of confirming my faith. During a visit to New Hampshire, I attended a camp where they held vespers each evening. And every night, someone would tell a story and a lesson of their own life. And then to end, we would reflect just like our own service. In that vespers service, I felt the importance of community, just like our own church. And I felt that I had taken a new lesson away from me. Just like our own services at church, confirmation, and even this camp. These were places for me and others to come together, feel welcome to learn about others and what faith means to me, even if it isn't all figured out. Another part of my faith is how I choose to live. This church strives to be inclusive, help others, and volunteer in their community and more. Helping the community and others truly made me feel like I'm living out to my fullest form of my faith's time. My faith is also trust. I always in my life out there food, there are times I'm rewarded. But I trust that life goes on, that if I make a mistake or have a bad day, that God has created an opportunity for me to live a better day tomorrow. I trust that my faith will help me to gather throughout my life community.
Hi everyone, I'm Preston, and I think our faith means many things, but it's subjective and slightly different to everyone. Some use it as a safe place, some use it as a way to be part of the community, but I use it as a type of outlet. If I'm stressed, worried, nervous, or even hopeful, I know I can rely on my faith for support. However, I see the support in the way of mentors, friends, teachers, family, and sometimes even strangers when they impact my life, rather than a big guy in the sky. I fully believe in a higher power of the world, and while it can be hard to believe in some of the stories in the Bible, I do sense the power controls everything and how it operates in our universe. This power doesn't have to be in the form of man or human at all. Because of this, when my life is altered by those around me, for good or for bad, I credit this higher power. It is mysterious and unknown, but no matter what, it's still there. This is what I mean when I say faith is subjective, because others might not see it the same way. I assume that you guys all see it differently as well, but this is how I feel my closest connection to my faith. In a world where not much is guaranteed, love and help from the church community, as well as God, is always available. When life gives you something so powerful and beneficial to the course of your future, you must take advantage of it and allow it to change your life for the better. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Johnson, and this is my This is my Betty Aiden Lynch. Now, what's really interesting is watching Aiden in this community of love and support. It has been fabulous. He is a funny guy. He's also a very humble gentleman. So he's going to read some of his faith statement, and I'm going to read some of his faith statement.
This is Aiden. The connection between God and the dog is present throughout many years of witness. That is what is driving me to write the faith statement.
And he continues, my dog was brought to life on March 12th, 2010. God made sure everything was all set before my dog was born. A few months later, my family was able to bring our dog home and pick him up because of God bringing my dog into this world. We named him Finnegan. Finnegan is a Vizsla, a Hungarian hunting dog. He's almost the best dog in the world. He's kind, loyal, and welcoming. When I come home, Aiden, he comes down the stairs to greet me, and then I pet him. In the morning, I give him treats. He is part of the family. We picked him out because he was the smallest. He was the runt. One of his brothers is very famous. He's been to many dog shows. Finnegan is famous in our family. Dogs and God have something in common. They both love unconditionally.
My name is Kim Pierce, and I've had the pleasure of being mentored for Annika during her confirmation journey. I have known Annika since she was a quiet third grader in my Sunday school class, and have had the pleasure of working with her for 4 years as hers, and as well as many of the other confirmands. Standing up here today as Sunday school teacher. Not only has it been wonderful watching Annika explore her faith throughout these years, I've been fortunate enough to see her become the athletic, she plays soccer, basketball, and runs track, kind, and much more confident young lady she is today. I am so happy I was part of her confirmation journey. Here's Annika to share a bit of her faith statement and journey with you.
When I first started coming to church with my family, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the Bible and the Testaments, or why we all said things at the same time. To be honest, it's scary. I felt like everyone around me felt such a passion for God that I couldn't seem to understand or receive. But during my confirmation journey, I began to put it all together. It used to confuse me how we could all be God so differently. But I realize now that that's one of the things that makes Christianity so special. Each one of us receives God in a different light, yet we can still come together to do whatever our faith may teach us. I'm grateful that I was able to grow up in a church that welcomes everyone and made me feel comfortable exploring it. Although I may not know exactly what this higher power is, I do know that it's guiding me through every walk of life. It reminds me to be kind, to be there for others, and to help those less fortunate. I know that everything happens for a reason, and I know that God is always with me. I feel that God is not only with me in church, but is also there in nature, the love I have for my family, and the wonders of the world. So with that, I recognize that my faith will continue to grow and evolve beside me. But I trust that God will lead me on the path I'm meant to take. I believe that if I proceed with faith in God and love for others, then I will be okay no matter what life throws my way.
I'm Donna Gregory, and I've had the honor of walking with Sasha Getz and Campbell Jacobson for this confirmation portion of their unfolding to be continued faith journeys. They are both finishing their first year at Guilford High School. Sasha rides horses and plays volleyball. Campbell is in the middle of a big lacrosse weekend, and when you see her after service, please wish her happy birthday. Today is the day. They didn't know me before we were matched together for this confirmation year. And they trusted and welcomed me into listening to and with them. There truly is trust in this room that is our church community. I've had gifts in listening with them this year. May you know the gifts of listening now.
Good morning, my name is Sasha Getz. I grew up in New York City and I was never really exposed to the community of the church growing up. It wasn't until we moved here when I first got to experience the church community. I believe that going to church made me notice that God in my surroundings, especially nature, when beauty becomes so much more visible and apparent. I believe that along with nature, my beliefs are also changing. I believe that today I may have far different beliefs or feelings than tomorrow or the days to come. But I also believe that my experiences and ever-changing opinions is God's way of standing in the right direction for your life. And with that, with every turn I take in my beliefs, it's God taking me where I need to go. I also believe that God is a symbol in my life and is a representation to me to always be thoughtful, respectful, and kind to myself and the others surrounding me. A couple of months ago, my aunt, who's a major role model in my life, said something that reminded me of this belief. She said, I don't think that everything happens for a reason, but I think that everything happens and it's our responsibility to take that and make something happen. And that really resonated with me because it made me think about God and what He reminds us every day to do. Choose kindness and take responsibility and our actions. And with that, I would just say that God is a symbol that reminds me every day of my duty to myself and the people that surround me.
Good morning, I'm Carol Jacobson, and I'm 15 years old as of today. I attend Milford High School as a freshman. I play field hockey, ice hockey, and lacrosse. This past year, I've been thinking deeper about my faith and the connection I have with God. In 2007, a few months after I was born, my parents made the decision to get me baptized. With the help of God, all those in the congregation, my parents had promised to raise me to live and pursue the faith of Christianity forever. Standing in front of you all today, I am committed to this promise and will move forward with the Christian faith and accepting God into my life. I believe that this is the right choice and I am helping myself because I have had God in my corner. I know this because God has put me on this earth for a reason, and with God's guidance, I can do amazing things. God is with us all and knows we can do amazing things. God has plans for us arranged, and He will make sure we go down the right path. God might put a few obstacles in the way only because He knows that we will get over them and it can only make us stronger. God is accepting of everyone and everything. So today, I'm standing in front of you. I choose to accept God into my life and live it out the way He has planned for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Peter Palumbo. I've had the joy to work with these two fine young people. And I have a little background experience with both of them. First, Levi. I was on the first mission trip here with Levi and his family. And then we got to know him as just a little guy. And then again, back through this confirmation journey. I think Lou said, this common thread that we all share as mentors, it really is neat to do this. I've done it, I think this is my 4th time as a mentor, and find something else inside of yourself that these young folks bring. A common message that I find myself trying to explain and reinforce to them is that your faith journey changes through your life, and it's okay what it is today, and you can speak of what it is today and be okay with it. Because I think at the beginning of this process a year ago, Ginger, at the first confirmation meeting, she looked at me and she said, well, what's your faith journey? And I was like, step back and think, oh my gosh, I've got work to do again. I mean, I have to continue to look at this over and over. And I just think it's important for all these young folks to know that it's ever changing and it's always okay. So we introduce Levi to you all.
When I was asked to write my faith statement, I wasn't really sure where to begin. My name is Levi Johnson. I just finished my sophomore year in the fall, and I've been going to this church my whole life. After spending 15 years of my life in this church, my feelings about God have constantly been changing. Right now, I feel like God is less of a human figure than they are a symbol we use to show love and care for one another. I also think there's a reason every person in this room pictures God differently. Some may picture an old man with a full white beard resembling stand up, and some may think of a young woman. Some may not even think of them as any human. Whatever you think of as a sign of love is probably similar to how you picture God. I personally have 2 dogs at home. My big golden retriever and small Cavalier King Charles Spaniel embody love for me. Every morning when I walk downstairs, I see them wagging their tails and running with me. They're never sad. Every time I see them, they look like they're smiling at me. And every morning I'm reminded of God through the rush of joy I get when I see their oversized tongues hanging out of his mouth. I also run cross country for Hammond Hall. Out of all the sports, cross country is probably the one that you get to see the true nature of competing. During meets this past school year, I ran through flowers, I ran deep in the woods, past creeks, and out in the hot sun. Running connects me with God because of these instances of natural beauty other than something that I love. God comes up in our everyday lives without us even noticing. Talking to our friends and even making breakfast are God-given opportunities. Any event in someone's life has the chance to change their view of God, and nobody in this room will have the same beliefs. I personally don't think of God as a person. God is the connection between all of us that helps us live our day-to-day lives with one another.
So I'm going to read Wiley's faith statement and some of his words, but I knew Wiley's grandfather and his uncle and his mom for many, many years, and then got to be with Wiley on our mission trip in Puerto Rico this year, and again throughout this process of confirmation. So Wiley lives here in Guilford with his family, his sisters Delia and Vivian, and he has 2 dogs and 3 cats, whom all 3 are rescues. He goes to Career High School in Haven, and he's been at First Church here for a few years. Wiley follows the teachings of Jesus by being nice and accepting of people who are different than he is. He says, I stand up for people, like my sister, she has Down syndrome. I also feel for animals in need. He goes on to say, I try to be helpful by participating in scouts, helping my grandparents, and not causing harm to nature, and by supporting people who do good things. An important Bible verse to Wiley is from Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Thank you.
This week I posted that the best part of my week was in my office talking with one of our confirmants about theology. It has been a privilege and an honor to be on this past year, to watch you go through personal trials, really scary things, to watch you juggle all the things going on in school and trying out life and do activities. It has been a lot. So thank you for letting us be part of that journey. Now, I have a question to you. This changes our choreography just a little bit in order of service. We're going to ask you first,
as we celebrate this faith birth with you and are excited that you're part of the body of Christ and of this particular church. Can I ask, will you participate in the life and ministry of the community of God's people, loving neighbor as self, and taking part in the ministry of this congregation as it serves the community and the world? If so, please say, I will, surrounded by the love of God and my church. I will, surrounded by the love of God.
And now we're going to move in the bulletin, the order of service. I'd like you to look over at the oathing of the covenant. We're going to go back to the Timberlake in a moment. The oathing of the covenant. The promise that you made today is an individual and a personal one. Because Christians live out our faith in a community of church. Your individual promise is supported by all who walk with you. First Congregational Church is joined together by covenant, and today we are being asked to affirm your church membership for the first time. As we do this, all gathered who are fellow members reaffirm it, and as you sign that this promise is renewed each time the church gathers and welcomes new members to a common ministry. Let us all affirm these words with the oathing of the covenant together. We covenant with the Lord and divine ourselves in the presence of God to walk together in all God's ways. And now, congregation, please join in the welcome. We greet you with joy. We pledge to be your community, to praise you as we share rules and history of our lives. And the church will be vibrant love. And for the sacred aspect of the candlelight service, we have our angelic choir who will sing, and we will light the candles and we see the image of this demon.
Thank you for staying a little later today, for being a part of this incredible time when we see our youth blossom and ask questions and reflect and search and grow. Thank you for loving them, and we invite you after the service to go outside and join us. And please, if you all will exit first, so people can come through you and continue talking with them about their faith journey. And like Peter said, maybe offering some of yours. As we move on into our time of offering, I want to thank the choir for this amazing offering this day. Thank you all for offering yourselves, your good wishes, your prayers, and your kindness as well. And now with our gifts that spread ministry out to the world, may we offer our time, our talent, and our treasure. and hope of new beginnings, new life, new questions, hope in Christ. May you each go out knowing that you are wonderfully and uniquely created in the image of God and worthy to be loved. Amen.